Luigi Mangione, the name becoming familiar to people. He has pleaded not guilty to state murder and other charges over the killing of United Healthcare's chief executive. Let's talk with David Smith, Washington bureau chief for The Guardian and The Observer. David, on that story, the Luigi Mangione story, there have been senior politicians expressing concern about the kind of fan clubs that seem to be growing up around Luigi Mangione. And the whole case seems to have taken on a kind of unique flavour, doesn't it?
Yes. I think when books are written about it, they will reflect on the wider political issue of healthcare in the United States and how unevenly it's distributed, and how this has become a focal point for years, if not decades, of simmering anger over that. Even this Saturday, there's a comedy variety show on live TV, Saturday Night Live, bit of an American institution. And when Mangione was mentioned on there was some cheering from the studio audience. And the host tried to tab it down a bit, but even many of the politicians, they're saying in no way do we excuse murder for a moment, but you have to look at just why people are turning this guy into a folk hero. And it goes back to the fact that the US certainly does not have an NHS, and a lot of healthcare is privatized, and a lot of people are left not looked after.
Yeah, but you can see how, and not just from a politician's perspective, you can see how, if he is convicted, you can see how any condoning of cold-blooded murder in the street because you disagree with somebody, however violently you disagree with them, it simply can't be tolerated and applauded, can it?
Indeed, and as you'd expect, many politicians have certainly made that point and said, he's not a hero, he's a coward, and never can violence of this nature be condoned. I think the people cheering are very active online, and sort of finding an outlet that way. There's it would be very hard to find anybody in officialdom saying this was a good thing, but they are conscious of some of the public sentiment out there.
Let's move on to the move that President Biden has made to commute 37 of 40 death row prisoners' sentences and reduce them to full life terms. Is this an unusual number at the end of a presidency to be commuted?
Yeah, it's the highest number of any president in modern times. 37 is very significant. And it follows weeks of mounting pressure from campaigners, death row activists, lawyers, even the Pope got involved, urging Biden to do this. I think similar to some other issues, a real consciousness that of what comes next, which is Donald Trump taking office on the 20th of January. He's a big supporter of the death penalty, and during his first term, he resumed federal executions after a 17-year hiatus. More people were put to death under Trump than the previous 10 presidents combined. That gave a real urgency to the campaign for Biden to intervene here. And on Monday he has made that announcement. Again, sort of echoing our previous conversation, saying he condemns the murderers, grieves for the victims of the despicable acts, but at the same time, he thinks the death penalty must be stopped at the federal level.
Yeah, and is there much appetite for change to the death sentence in America? Because, of course, the opposite is true here, I think. I'm right in saying that there isn't much appetite politically anyway to look again at the status quo here. What's the feeling in America on this?
Like everything else in the US, very polarized and divided. I haven't actually seen much polling recently on it. I know generally a majority of the US population was in favor of the death penalty, but that's strongly linked to political affiliation and religious affiliation. Yeah. I think a majority of Republicans are for it and a majority of Democrats against. So again, you have that divide. Big cities like New York, very few people would support it, whereas in many small towns and rural areas in the Republican heartland, there would still be strong support for the death penalty.
Just finally, there's quite a lot of reports in our papers here this morning about Peter Mandelson as as UK ambassador to Washington, looking to lean on Nigel Farage for a bit of a connection to Trump and his team. I wonder about that. I wonder is the degree to which Farage is a known quantity in America at all, really. I know that the first time around with Trump, he paraded him a bit, but not so much this time.
Not so much yet. I think it's a case of get in line, because Elon Musk is looming so large and seems to have Trump's ear all the time. And whatever else Nigel Farage is, he can't quite match Elon Musk's money. But this is an interesting story. I would say Farage has been in the MAGA, the Make America Great Again universe, for quite some time. You see him speak at some of the conferences that happen, and he certainly claims to be in Trump's orbit. And I suspect Mandelson is thinking pragmatically here. He and Farage obviously do not see eye to eye on almost any policy, but we know so much of what Trump is about is personal relations, including his diplomacy with China and so on. So if Farage can give any tips on how to flatter Trump's ego, I guess Mandelson will listen to that. He may need all the help he can get in this.
Thanks, David. David Smith, Washington Bureau Chief for The Guardian and The Observer.